Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to discuss about two levels of subgraphs. So we have parent graph, then we have child graph, and child graph will have another child that will be a grandchild. So it is the full code. So in previous video we built the graph that has only one child. First of all, let's revise the previous concepts. So to invoke or to build the subgraph, we usually have two patterns. One is call a subgraph inside a node and another is add a subgraph as a node. When we call a subgraph inside a node, so basically when the parent graph and subgraph have different state schema, means no shared key, then we usually invoke the subgraph inside a node function. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So it is the full example. Let me just copy the code of grandchild graph and I will paste here in our Jupyter notebook. So we have only one key in our state. Its name is myChild key and it has only one node. What it will do? It will update the myChild key with this string, how are you? That's it. So let's run it. If you want to visualize a graph, you simply have to type grandchild graph. So at this point we have the graph with only one node. Now let's create another graph that will be a child graph. So let's copy and paste the code here. In this line we actually are preparing the input for grandchild graph. So whatever the value we'll get from myChild key, we'll assign that value to my grandchild key and we invoke the grandchild graph with that key. So we'll discuss that how it works. So let me just invoke it or run it. If you want to visualize, you simply type child graph and it will show you the graph. So it is the graph, we have only one node. So similarly, we'll copy the code of parent graph. So it is the code and I will paste here. It also has the one parameter in state, that is my key, and it has two node. One is parent node, three node. One is parent node, parent2 and call child graph. So this node basically called the child graph and these two nodes will update the state. So to visualize it, I will simply type parent graph. So we have three nodes. One is parent node. So first of all, we'll call this parent node. After that, we'll call the child node. Mean this one. We'll not call parent2. We'll call this call child graph. Then after calling child, we'll come to parent node 2. This one. To invoke the graph, let me copy the code and I will paste here. Here I am saying my key is equal to Bob, variant is v3. If event method is equal to values, so it will print the parameter namespace and parameter data. So let's run it. So it print the values, that is Bob, hi Bob, and hi Bob, how are you? Then how are you today? Bye. Let's discuss what just happened. So we invoke the parent graph with this value, my key is equal to Bob. So we'll come to this parent node 1. So till now we have parent state and in parent state we have my key. So in my key there is Bob. Okay, perfect. So my key has the value that is Bob. We'll come to the parent 1. It will update my key with this string, hi Bob. So this Bob will become hi Bob. From parent 1 we call the call child graph. And here my child key is equal to state my key. So whatever the value there is in my key, it will be assigned to my child key. So it will become this hi Bob. And from here we'll invoke the child graph. So we'll come to this child graph and in my child key there is this hi Bob. And from this point we are saying my grandchild key is equal to child key, and we invoke the grandchild graph. So our grandchild key will become also the hi Bob. Hi Bob. From this child graph will come to grandchild graph, and at this point we are saying my grandchild key is equal to my grandchild key plus how are you. So in my grandchild key there is hi Bob, so this hi Bob will become how are you. So let's just copy these values, and this hi Bob will become hi Bob, how are you. Okay, perfect. And we'll return the updated key that will be my grandchild key. It is a child graph, and we store the value that we get from grandchild graph in this variable, that is grandchild graph output. We'll update my child key with this value plus today. So whatever the value we'll get from grandchild graph, we'll update it with today. So let me just copy this value, hi Bob, how are you. Hi Bob, how are you, and plus today. And this graph will update my child key, this variable, and we return the state. From this point we store the value in child graph output. So and we update my key with this updated values. So my key will also become hi Bob, how are you. From child node we'll call the parent 2. So it is the parent 2. It will update my key with state my key plus by. Means we are just updating this value with by. That's it. There is exclamation mark here. Now let's see our actual values. So there is Bob and hi Bob. These are the values that were updated in parent 1. So it is the Bob and hi Bob. After that we pass this hi Bob to my child key. So my child key will pass this same value to my grandchild key, that is hi Bob, and my grandchild key update the value with how are you. So it got the value hi Bob and it update the hi Bob with how are you, and it return the value hi Bob, how are you to child state. And child graph will update the value with today, means it will add this word. So it is the values hi Bob, how are you today. And we pass the same value to parent graph, and here is the value hi Bob, how are you. And parent 2 will update these state with by this word. So it updates the state with hi Bob, how are you today by. So it is the example with two level of subgraphs, means we have parent graph, child graph and grandchild graph. In next video we'll discuss that what is persistence in subgraph. So yes, that's it guys, and see you in next video.